Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fireside Chat. I've lost track of numbers. I'm not even sure. Well, we would know what number this is, actually.
286.
286. Hi, everyone. And I have two big issues, and then I'm going to take your questions. I'm Dennis Prager, in case that wasn't clear. I should always say that. And this is a tough one because, as many of you know, but not all of you know, Otto died this week. And I have some thoughts on that. By the way, the outpouring of condolences has been very touching to my wife and me. And I thank everyone. And there's really, I'm not asking for others to do so because we understand a lot of people had an attachment. It's so common for people to say to me at airports, "How's Otto?" Sometimes they don't even stop for a selfie. They'll just go, "Say hi to Otto." In that sense, I have to say that dog unwittingly had sort of a bigger effect on a lot of people than almost any human. What was it that somebody just said to me today? "Oh yeah, that was America's dog." That was a nice way of putting it. The truth is, Otto was special. I take this not only from my own perception, but my wife, who's had many more dogs than I have, and anyone really who came in contact. One of our dear friends from Nebraska who periodically visits, he loved Otto so much. He just, every time he saw him, he'd go, "This is the perfect dog." It was people's reactions to Otto. It's hard to explain. And I don't want to overdo it, and I'm not overdoing it, because I just saw how people reacted to him, and indeed many of you have. He was a great specimen of English Bulldog, which is a very remarkable breed in and of itself. So I want to reflect on the issue of the loss of a dog. And because that's the way my mind works. I always step back and try to learn lessons about life from whatever happens, good and bad. So I'll begin with this thought. The moment a person adopts or buys a pet, they have set themselves up for pain. And it's a very interesting thing. It's not rationally thought through. Just people do that, and I believe correctly so. But it's a very big lesson to be learned here that we prefer pain we prefer pain in life to a painless life. People try to avoid pain, and when they do that, they lead a less full life. People don't get married or don't have children if they do get married, and it is to avoid pain. I was just reading a piece, and there's even an acronym now for, I don't remember, couples that have no desire to get married or couples that will never marry. And it made a very rational case. They can travel whenever they want. Couples that will never have children, sorry. They can travel whenever they want. They can do, and I have addressed this in the past, but it really applies here dramatically and accurately, wherein you get a pet, you know you will have pain. I mean, the chances are overwhelming your pet will die before you do, unless you get it at a very, very old age. And people get up to do that. But why don't we apply that to other things? Yes, there is pain in leaving your cocoon and getting married. Marriage may well have some pain in it. And by the way, may have real pain. You may get divorced. I've never understood, though, in any event, that argument, well, there's so much divorce, I'm not going to get married. Well, there were so many car crashes. Do you avoid driving a car? I think the analogy is actually perfect. Yeah, and not all analogies are that accurate. But you lead a much deeper and richer life if you marry. You lead a much deeper and richer life if you marry and have children. So the question everyone has to ask is, am I out for as little pain as possible? Or am I living for as much depth of life as possible? That's why we get a pet. We want that emotional depth, even though we know that within X number of years, we will have the pain of the loss of that pet. It's a very, very important lesson, in my opinion, from adopting an animal. This is Snoopy who's visiting. It's an interesting question, too. Does Snoopy miss Otto? And I haven't been able to figure it out. Maybe it's too soon. This is just a couple of days. And he doesn't realize, or I don't know the answer. Will it dawn on him one day that his brother, whom he really loved, I mean, they would periodically snuggle up together, certainly lick each other's faces. And I don't know that answer. I actually hope he doesn't have any pain from it. Otto died in as ideal or idyllic a manner as almost conceivable. As I said to some people today, when it's my time to go, I hope I go as Otto did. It was painless. It was over a couple of days, so to speak, to say goodbyes. He died with loving company around him and painlessly. It was a tumor actually at his heart, and it was just making breathing ultimately impossible. But I did want to reflect on that fact that when we get a pet, we know we're setting ourselves up for pain. Draw the inevitable conclusion: avoiding pain is not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to lead a full life, as rich a life as possible. By the way, since I am a big Bible fan, that's what the Garden of Eden story is about. Adam and Eve opted for the pain of life rather than the idyllic non-pain life of the Garden of Eden. They said, we want to live a life with free will, free choice, good and evil, over a life of eternal bliss, innocent bliss, if you will. They chose a full life. They chose a full life over a safe life. Another point that I have frequently made is the God of safety. In fact, I have a jingle on my show. Actually, somebody made it up for me. I suggested it, and then somebody actually put it to music. That the end of the national anthem would be "Better safe than sorry," or "The land of the free, better safe than sorry."
Or the land of the free, better safe than sorry.
It's very funny when it's played, but I made that up because that's become the national motto in the United States and perhaps other Western countries. Better safe than sorry. Well, you may be sorry that you were playing it that safe. I use this example often. I have visited Israel many, many times, over 20 times, and from the beginning of my radio career, people would call in periodically and say, "Oh, I would love to visit Israel so much, but I'm waiting till it's safe." And as I often note, these people are still waiting 40 years later. What does it mean you're waiting till it's safe? How safe does it have to be for you to go? And that's a perfect example of not living fully because you rather be safe than sorry. And my motto is you might end up being very sorry that you played it so safe. That's why during COVID, I knew it was meant well, and I never said anything but thank you to a person who said, be safe. That was the new goodbye. And I never said it to anybody, be safe. It's not a great motto. What does it mean, be safe? And therefore do what? Stay at home all day? Wear a mask all the time? What did that even mean? So I believe in I wear seatbelts. Okay, I think it's irrational not to wear a seatbelt, but I have never played it safe, as it were. I have opted for fullness, and these are some reflections on the demise of a beloved pet. So I have one other thing to address. It won't be nearly as long. Some of you may be, I'm sure that some of you are aware of this because it's made the rounds on the internet, and that is comments that I made at the Daily Wire, one of the Daily Wire sessions on the book of Exodus, the biblical book of Exodus. I was part of the panel with Dr. Jordan Peterson. We did 24 hours, 16 sessions, 24 hours on the book of Exodus. I was delighted and honored to be part of the group that did it. Anyway, and the issue arose of thought sin versus action sin. And I made a comment. I'm paraphrasing. I haven't memorized what I said, but I know my sentiment on this, that in Judaism, the action is way more important than the thought. And I have adopted this view in my own life, that sins of behavior are far worse than sins of thought. And I think I have to believe that the vast majority of Christians would agree with that as well. A reminder, those of you watching on social media, the rest of the podcast, broadcast, Fireside Chat will be at pragerU. Please go over to pragerU. It's effortless, obviously, and watch. The best is to download our app. And the reason we do this, as I always explain, is if one day they pull the plug on pragerU, which could certainly happen, you will be prepared. You will just be watching us at the pragerU site or pragerU app.